All right, let's go to Josh Sargent now. Tom Bogart, a friend of the show, Tommy Scoops, reports that Sargent was visibly upset after a heated exchange with Philippe Clement, the manager and sporting director Ben Napper. Negotiations between Norwich and Toronto FC are ongoing. From what we are also hearing, that Josh Sargent did have his third child. They want to get back closer to family, and this is a major, reportedly be a major impetus for why they want to make the move. So I actually want to bring up what you were saying before, Chuck. You don't know what the players are going through, right? And I feel like with this particular instance, and when you have a child in particular, it changes your perspective on, well, life in general, right? But when you add a third one, and all of a sudden you've kind of done some things in your career, then you have a kid, you start to think bigger. Where should I be? Where should we go? And this isn't just a decision for you; it's for your wife and it's for your kids. And so I wonder how much that is being packaged into where this emotion is coming from, because that can, I don't know. It's there's a lot to unpack there. And Tones, you're the most experienced out of all of us. Yeah, I'm not saying you're older than us, but you are older than us. How much does family kind of come into the decision making that you made during your career?
Did I read that Lionel Messi turned down $1.5 billion from the Saudi league because his family wanted to live in Miami? What do you mean? I know I'm not comparing the two players. Don't get me wrong, but family plays. I think we go, Jimmy, to your point, every day, and when we look at players and we look at moves or how they're playing, we just think everything is perfect in their life that day. Like that's our starting point, right? Every player, everything is perfect. Sit back and think about how unrealistic that is, right? You can't go to an office in America and think that you got 20 people sitting in an office and everyone's life is perfect every single day, right? That no one's going through something. It's no different. And we all know, how many times have we been in a dressing room where something as simple as the guy's girlfriend broke up with him a week before and he can't get over it, right? And something happened, maybe the grandma's sick and they can't get over it. Like, these things happen every single day. Who knows what's going on in Josh Sargent's life? Like, we judge him on that things are perfect, but whatever visibly shaken or upset? Visibly, we don't know what was said in that meeting. We don't know what triggered him or triggered the manager. We do know because the manager told us that he was not happy with the fact that he sent him a text before a game 2 weekends ago.
That's fair.
He said he's not happy. That. I understand. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Then you got to try and sort that out. Doesn't sound like the meeting went great. But with regards to the move, again, I just go simply, I don't begrudge anybody for a move. Like, you make your own decision in the end and you live with whatever happens. But I mean, it's hard to say what went wrong. I just feel like we started the beginning of the year in August, September, and Josh was scoring goals and everything was going great. And we're thinking about, hey, man, if he continues at this pace, he might get one more shot, just one more chance with Mauricio Pochettino. And I don't see that happening now. And that's the sad part.
And I see a comment here from Wing Hero saying, what do you mean your perspectives are changed? You're a paid professional. Let me tell you one thing. Like, you have a kid, of course your perspective is going to change on life. But I think more importantly, if you come home from practice every day and your wife is sitting there with your kid or your kids and is saying, I don't like it here. The kids aren't happy here. There's no place to connect. I don't feel community. I don't feel supported. You think that's not going to weigh on you as a professional?
Of course.
No matter how much money you make. And to Tony's point, Messi can be offered $10 billion at that point. It wasn't about the money. It's about happiness as a family. Where does my wife and kids feel most at home? Where are they going to feel happy? Off the field, are there things to do? Do you feel safe? Do you what are the opportunities like to grow as a family and experience new things? That's what Messi was making the decision on. And then, of course, you throw in, okay, I'm going to be part owner of a league that's thriving and growing, and I'm going to be with David Beckham, and I have all these insurances, and of course that helps, but ultimately it was not about the money. It was about what's best for my family. Where are they going to be most happy? And so that's the perspective we're talking about. Is you might have an idea in your mind of how do I want to fulfill my potential, or do I have anything left to chase, versus saying, you know what, now's the time to pivot in my career. If I'm Josh Sargent and say, I'm playing in the championship, it's not like I'm playing for Chelsea or Milan or Bayern Munich. I'm playing in the Czech championship. And now I have an opportunity to leave the championship, to go home to North America and be paid 5, 10, whatever it is, $1 million a year for 5 years, which is life-changing, and my family's going to be happy. Where do I sign? So that's the difference.
And I'll actually give a personal anecdote where after my first child was born, I made a decision that I wanted to be as present for that child as possible. My parents had me when they were 18 years old. I have a great relationship with my dad. I didn't grow up with my dad, so I didn't see him all the time. And so I wanted that to be different for me when I was a dad, especially for the first time. What that did was I was leaving practice. I mean, obviously would do my practice, but I wasn't doing the extra stuff, right, that I was known for at that point. I was captain of Kansas City at this point, and I was leaving before I was the first one to get there, last one to leave. And then I made the choice that, okay, I'm going to start leaving a little bit earlier because I want to go home and be around my kid. I want to be present. And it took me a while to find that balance, being a new dad. We didn't have any support in Kansas City. We didn't have any family there. Not to say we couldn't have gotten and paid support and all that stuff. Of course, we could have. But we wanted to take some ownership of, yeah, this is our kid. We want to raise our kid. And so that impacted some other choices that I would have made. I don't begrudge anybody for it. These are the choices that I made. But it did impact my professional career. So yes, it does change your perspective, and it does change how you approach your life and what matters to you. And all the baggage sounds dramatic, but all the baggage that you've been carrying since you were a kid that probably propelled you to be in this position in general. You have a chip on your shoulder of something to prove. You want your approval from your parents that you matter, that they made a good decision by keeping you. I don't know how deep we want to go here, right? Because there were other choices they could have made at 18 so I feel like I'm playing with house money anyway. But all these little things that ladder up, and then all of a sudden you get into this space where it gets emotional, and you want to do something different than what you were in when you were little, and that does impact how you approach the game, your professional career, and what happens on the field. And it took me a little while to work through that, and to probably should have worked with a professional in this space, and I didn't, because as you guys know, you want to tough it out. I got this. I can cope with it.
Yeah, but we're here for you.
I know what to do.
We're here for you.
No. I understand that, and I appreciate you saying that. But I just want to kind of lay out that everybody brings something to the table. And to your point, Tones, it might not just be in that moment. It could be years and years of emotional 100%. Baggage that gets unlocked with something that happens in your life that does change how you now approach things. So if Josh Sargent, from what we're hearing reportedly, got triggered by something that was said about his family, and that's where he's in that type of space, hell yeah, you're going to go to bat for your family, and hell yeah, you're going to try to find the best situation. And now the loyalties between club and player and what you've done, that kind of goes out the window because you're just trying to find a nice solution that can benefit everybody. I'm sure Josh wants Norwich to be in a good spot, right? Of course, but and want to leave amicably. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Jimmy, I'm always careful in these moments, right? And I know we live in a world where everyone wants like a hot take all the time, right? But I'm always careful in these moments because how many times have you read something about a player? Oh, this guy's leaving here, or this guy had a fight with or something happened, right? And you're like, oh man, I can't believe that happened, or what a jerk that guy is, or whatever. And then you read an article 6 months from now, knowing that the guy's parents had something going on, or the kid, right. the kid had something. Like I'm always weary, and it sucks because we live in a business, right? You make a living in this business because you have takes all the time. But when it comes to things like this, maybe it's just 15 years of doing this and making those mistakes. Like I'm always like in a wait and see mode because there's always another story that you didn't know about, right? And you could never know about. And it's not your fault that you don't know about it. But I always think that there's something that we'll find out down the road that justifies, hey, man, that guy made the right move. You know, that guy did the right thing by doing that. But I don't know. That's just the way I think about these things.
And he's got to feel like it's the right thing, right? That's what matters the most at all this for him and his family.